Hi, I'm Representative Cindy Evans, and thank you for joining me on my show, Now What? And I represent North Kohala, South Kohala on the Big Island, and I'm very blessed to represent the district, which is a wonderful district. If you ever have a chance, come to the Big Island and visit North Kohala and South Kohala. And with me today, I have Richard Burns, the state librarian. Hi, Richard.
Hello.
Hi.
Nice to be here.
Thank you. And I have Susan Nakata, which is Library Development Officer.
Yes.
Hi, Susan.
Hi.
Thank you. Thank you. And why do I have the state librarian and Susan with me? Well, I can tell you that in my district of Waikoloa, the community for a long time has wanted to have a library because the closest library that they have is in Waimea, which is 19 miles away. The alternative is going into Kona, which is about 35 miles away. It's a growing community, and we have a lot of need for programs, enrichment programs, and the stuff that library give to all of us. And I thought it was a great time for us to reflect on what libraries give to us, and more importantly, and that's why Susan's here, is to really talk about the transitioning that's going on with libraries. For all of us that I went to libraries when, you know, I was in elementary and high school and middle school. I used to walk there all the time, and those libraries of many years ago are changing and they're evolving and they're going to look different. And I thought we should talk about what I'm calling them digital libraries. Some people are calling them other names, but you know, I think we should spend this time talking about what's really happening with libraries. So Richard, do you want to tell the audience, like, how many libraries do we have in the state, and you know,
sure, I'd be
kind of
glad
a little
to.
bit of a background to frame it before we move on.
The Hawaii State Public Library System comprises 50 libraries on all 6 major islands. There are 12 on the Big Island, 24 on Oahu, 8 in Maui County, and 6 on Kauai. We have a staff of about 550 people, and we provide services for all the people of Hawaii. We're very proud of our accomplishments over the last several years. We have a tremendous staff, and we're actually looking forward to building more libraries because we're seeing more and more communities want a library, they value a library, and the library adds value to their community. And I think that's what the Hawaii State Public Library System is all about, adding value for our communities and for our people.
Mm-hmm. And of course, Susan, you've really helped with, you call it library development.
Yes.
So when you define libraries for people, how do you define it? More than just reading. I mean, it's so much more.
You know, the neat thing about our library system is our mission, which is to serve from keiki to kupuna. And so we have baby lab sit programs, we have toddler preschool story times, we do a lot of early education things. And then, of course, we have teen programs as well as adult programs now. So we really want to have something for everyone. And we're trying to constantly reach out to fill needs that we haven't done before, like in the foreign language area and things. So we're constantly trying to improve ourselves.
Mm-hmm. So that plays into the concept of lifelong learning. That, I mean, it's kind of a buzzword, but I've heard that for many years now, lifelong learning, where we teach our children how to research, how to self-start, how to pursue their own interests, and they can go to the library to do that. And when you're at the library, you can get assistance and help. So that hasn't changed, right? The new model,
Correct.
still, you still get the help, right?
Absolutely, and that leads into something I was hoping to be able to talk about today. Thank you very much. The Pew Research Institute just released the findings of a national study called Libraries in the Digital Age. They started the study thinking that the value of libraries in communities had diminished with the prevalence of digital materials and the internet and computers and things like that. They found out in the national survey that 80% of people said that borrowing library books were very important to them. Additionally, 80% said that the staff, the librarians at the library, was very important to them. 75% said that public access computers were very important. So it's interesting to me that our materials collection and our staff still remain very, very valuable to our patrons. And then finally, fully 91% of the people that answered the survey said that a public library was important or very important to their community. So people across the country, our patrons, the people of Hawaii, still highly value their public libraries. We are transitioning more and more to digital collections as we continue to maintain popular and quality print and AV materials. We're also developing collections of online databases and ebooks, which are very, very popular. And we just added a new collection of audiobooks, 4,000 audiobooks, which are books that you can listen to on your iPod or traveling or in transit or doing something else. So we continue to move more and more into the digital age while still retaining those resources that our patrons value.
So that's kind of the transition piece, because I'm not an iPod person.
Nor am I.
Yeah. And but I know that people really use that, and people have told me that in traveling and commuting they've thoroughly enjoyed, you know, the iPod and the ebooks. And if you're in Honolulu, you know, you're on the road a lot here, and people said it's just been a wonderful thing. And the nice thing about going to the library is if you have a library card, you go and you download it. I mean, so can,
yes, you can.
So many people can. Is this one of these where many people can come in and in the same day download the same ebook on their iPod? I mean, it's. I just don't understand.
There's considerable uncertainty in the ebook world nowadays. Okay. Some publishers won't even sell to public libraries. Some sell at a much higher price than they would sell to a private individual. So there's a lot of fluctuating going on, and the publishing world is trying to transition to the electronic resources, and they're finding that very challenging. However, as we extend our access across the state, our collections are available now online 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. People can access these collections from home. They can reserve print materials, but they can also access our ebooks. And they can also download the ebooks and audiobooks from their home computer, from their work computer, actually directly to their portable device. So we're seeing a lot of transition there. We do have, our ebooks are very popular, so there are often waiting lists for that. But again, the one-click digital collection of 4,000 audiobooks we just added can have multiple simultaneous users. Yes. So multiple people can borrow the same item at the same time, listen to them at home, listen to them at the car. So that's a very valuable collection.
Wow. So how do you keep up with this, Susan? I mean, do you go to training on the mainland? I mean, do people come to, you know, sales reps, salespeople come to Hawaii and tell you what they have? How do we, you know, how do we keep up the pace of what's happening in our digital world?
You know, I'm a librarian, so yeah, the technology is pretty daunting, but it's exciting to see, and it's something that we can offer our young people, and our especially ebooks are such an attractive thing, and it draws in an audience that we have a hard time reaching, which are the young professionals. You know, we tend to kind of lose those folks. We get families who come in and use the library because they want to have preschool story time and things like that. But the technology just kind of helps fill out our services for the whole range of folks. But I'm very proud of the programs that we do, like our National Library Week programs are coming up in April. Last year, our library staff hosted about over 8,000 programs with a combined attendance of over 222,000 people. It was impressive, and again, for like our summer reading program, we're expecting 30,000 people this year to read over 300,000 books in 5 weeks. So it's the programming part is a real exciting part that we do. along with the technology. So it's really neat. Yeah.
So does the state librarian send you to the mainland? I mean, what kind of training? What kind
She's not allowed to go to the mainland.
See, you need her here. I get that. I get that.
Susan's got to work about 20 hours a day, 7 days a week to fill all the hats we've given her. The Hawaii State Library system has made tremendous progress in the last several years, and our vendors and the technology world have taken notice of that. So they're increasingly coming to Hawaii to see us. There are some staff members, myself included, who go to occasional conferences on the mainland and meet these people. But our reputation has spread in the last 2 or 3 years to the point that people are approaching us and trying to partner with us in programs that we are true partners in, that we both have a stake in the outcome. An excellent example of that is our new program. We're the only library system in the world to offer the Microsoft IT Academy, which is digital literacy and technology training that's self-paced, that's online, that's free, that can lead to Microsoft certifications, which of course are valuable documents in the workplace, when you're applying for a job, when you're applying for a promotion. And that's just one of the examples of all these technology-based companies that are recognizing the progress we've made, and they're anxious to partner with us. So they are coming to us quite a bit.
So as they see their new let's say new product lines coming out, they see the libraries as a way to share it with the public?
Yes, exactly, exactly. Again, the ebook world is in such a state of turmoil. The electronic resources world is developing, and we are being sought out as a partner in various programs. Ed2Go is another example. Ed2Go provides lifelong learning, training. Actually, there are courses, instructor-led courses that are online, everything from personal finance to digital literacy to GED preparation to starting a business. And we were one of the first library systems in the nation to partner with Gale Cengage to provide that for our patrons. And I just saw today, in just a month, we've had over 50 people sign up for that first round of courses. So we're very excited about the potential of that. And again, it's a great resource we're offering for our patrons, free and statewide.
So to be a patron, do you go online and sign up and become a patron? Do you have to go to the library and get, your picture taken and you're given your little plastic card?
You can get your application online and print it, but you do need to come in and show us identification and things like that, and sign your card, and you're good to go. But it's free as long as it's your first card.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
All these resources are available statewide for free. So again, it's tremendous value we provide for our patrons, users, customers. The people across the state of Hawaii can access these materials and the information at no cost.
Wow. So if they want to go to your website, what is your website? I take it all that's on the home page.
It is www.librarieshawaii, one long word, .org.
www.librarieshawaii, spelt out, .org.
Yes, and I believe we have a graphic for that that I'm sure Olelo can put up. And that's actually our portal to all our programs and services and information and materials. So that's a valuable website for people to bookmark and to add to their favorites and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, I'm real excited. As a state legislator, we have the different departments come in front of us, and we're always saying, have you updated your website? Is it user-friendly? Can people find the information they need if they go to your website? And some departments are, I think, more advanced than others, but it sounds like with Susan, you're on it.
Susan is on it with everything, yes.
Yeah.
We actually updated our website in the last year or so. So this is probably 3 times in the last 5 years, because we try to stay current and help speed our patrons to the things they want in as few as clicks possible.
I wanted to spend a few minutes talking about just the physical plant of a library, because it has to be changing also.
Absolutely.
I still think of libraries having open mic night, poetry reading, musicians, guests, places where you'll hang local art, you'll display local art, that maybe you have a room that might have historical, like significant historical books or regional books that are specific, you know, to the region. But I know that you've been designing some new buildings recently, and maybe you can talk a little bit about, you know, if we go into libraries of the new libraries that we're building, are we going to see a difference?
I think so. I think if you go to the latest libraries we've built, the latest libraries we've opened in North Kohala on the Big Island, in Manoa on this island, you'll see a tremendous difference. The buildings we're constructing are green, environmentally sensitive buildings. Both those libraries earned LEED Gold certification, which is a huge accomplishment. We're very proud of those libraries. We're also working on a library in Aiea. We're requesting actually from the legislature this session funding to construct a new library in Nanakuli, and all these libraries we anticipate will be LEED certified buildings. Additionally, last session we had funding released for planning and design for a new library in Waikoloa, which we've been talking about for several years, so we're very pleased to be able to do that. Our future libraries, and even the recent ones, have more open space. They have more space for computers, obviously, as we're in this transitional phase to more and more electronic resources. However, there is still that huge demand for print resources, so there's a balance there we're striving for. When we build the new Nanakuli library, we plan to build a business center in that library, so folks in Nanakuli won't have to come to town. We're planning to have a, a business science and technology librarian in that building to facilitate that process. So our libraries of the future will still provide resources, but develop into more of a business incubation model. And I think the High Tech Academy and Ed2Go will help facilitate that process as, again, we add more value in more ways for our patrons.
So this is like a learning center, like it will become like, again, you know, self-taught, lifelong learning, but more importantly, is actually a job where people can go and train themselves, online courses, job hunting, you know, what they have to do to help themselves in their career. I'm kind of hearing that.
Yes, I think our libraries, I know our libraries have stepped more into the workforce development field than ever before, and we've actually jumped with both feet. I think the financial troubles of the state and the nation of the last few years have given us this opportunity to, as a library system, move into a new realm in which we haven't been very active before. But providing, again, workforce development opportunities and actually giving our patrons a chance to create their careers, which is a huge change from what we focused on in the past. So it's an exciting new arena that we've moved into.
Very exciting. You got to add to this, Susan. You're in the throes of this.
I think one of the neat things that I've had a chance to do is the BTOP grant for the library system. And I just want to share, we've heard neat stories about how people are using the BTOP computers. It's not just for workforce development, where we're helping people do online job applications and all the things that we're supposed to be, you know, how to set up an email account. But we're also helping people's lives. For example, seasonal workers will come to the library to get a library card so that they can communicate via the internet with their family back home in another country. Or we helped with an adoption, you know, on one island where people are trying to navigate the paperwork and they're all confused, and they come in and ask for help, and our library staff helps to navigate that process. I've just been so awed by the wonderful things that are going on in our libraries, just by helping, you know, people helping folks find rentals, helping sell a car on Craigslist, all those things. So it's great.
Oh my gosh, I gotta go see my librarian. You know, I mean, the things are changing so fast. We actually need to be trained to use a lot of the new things that have come our way, and and that really gets me into that discussion we had right before we started recording, and that is, you know, I talked to a principal who said that they didn't understand why we needed to build a school library, and I said, well, excuse me, I called him up and I said, I don't understand that at all, because libraries offer so much. He goes, well, maybe I said it wrong. You know, when I think libraries, I just think of stacks of books, you know, and so you're going to come in and you're going to put in shelves and you're just going to fill them with stack of books. He says, and you know, you know, in our school, they're issuing laptops, and when our children need to look up and do their homework, they look at the laptops. And I says, oh no, libraries are so much more than that. I said, you would take that away from children, you know, and really, again, the library being more about self-responsibility and going somewhere, looking for information, and then having an expert, which is your librarian, your expert there to help you navigate and teach you and help you with that. I said, that doesn't go away. I said, I still see that very critical. And then he said, you're right. Maybe I just framed it wrong. Maybe I'm just, when I think library, which, you know, I am worried about sometimes, people still think of, you know, libraries and they're thinking 30 years ago or whatever they experienced, when the reality is libraries are as important as ever. And he says, well, Cindy, don't call them libraries anymore. You know, and I've called you on the phone before and said I get frustrated because I run into people, when you say library, they go, library? Why do we need a library anymore? And it's not library. It's a place of learning and nourishment and still activities, and a place to go where you get assistance. And you know, the Dale Carnegie, the vision, I think that original vision really hasn't gone away, but maybe we get stuck in old words or old, you know, visualizations or something. So how do we deal with that? I mean,
that's always been a challenge for us, getting these programs and resources, building public awareness of what we can provide. I don't think the problem is the name. I don't think there's been a suitable replacement. We're not really data centers. We're not really learning centers, because we're so much more. So it could be that transitioning to another name might help, but I think it's important that people realize that libraries are transitioning, as we've discussed several times. Susan mentioned BTOP. That's part of the Recovery Act. That's the Broadband Technology Opportunity Program that provided us funding that we leveraged with Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation grant to get 771 new public access computers in all our libraries. Every computer in every library is new within the last year. It also allowed us to implement wireless internet access in every library statewide. So this is just another example about how our libraries are changing, how if people will come in and take the time to look around, they'll see the change. If people can access our website, they'll realize that specifically the Hawaii State Public Library System, but libraries nationwide are making tremendous strides forward into not only the field of technology, but again, workforce development and providing lifelong learning materials, and again, more value for our patrons across the state.
I wanted to share one last statistic. 600,000 internet sessions happened in our libraries last year. 600,000.
In 50 libraries.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
very popular resource.
That is amazing. So what's on your agenda in the next, I mean, you're at the state legislature. People don't know this. We're filming it right now in the middle of the session. Tomorrow we actually vote on the House budget. The House budget will get sent over to the Senate. The Senate will work on it, send it back to us, and then we'll go to conference the end of April. But is there any key initiative, something that you see coming up on the horizon, you know, this kind of next year that you want to?
There are
kinda
a lot of
highlight?
pieces of technology legislation that are developing. The Office of Information Management and Technology, OIMT, is making tremendous strides to unify the technology framework of the state of Hawaii, and we're very anxious to work with OIMT on some of those projects. I think I mentioned we're hoping to receive construction funding for a brand new library in Nanakuli, planning and design for a library in Makiki. We've asked the legislature for additional funding, not only for books, but for e-books, because we realize that's an important area in which to move. And we haven't received funding for materials from the legislature for several years, so we're hoping for that. Another high priority for the library system is increasing access, and that would require us to have additional funding for more staff members so we can open more libraries, but even with the libraries we have, to open more hours. So we're very concerned about the House budget's evaluation of various vacant positions, which we will be relying on in the future to extend access for statewide.
And I think it's important, you know, to kind of frame it for you is that, you know, when we were, you know, we had our recession and times were really tough and all the different departments had, you know, had staff hiring freezes, and when people, and that kind of works against you when people retire or they move to different jobs, because the hiring freeze usually means that position becomes vacant.
Yes.
And so then basically over time your staff level goes down, 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 and until such time, you know, even if we say, you know, we're gonna lift the hiring freeze, you're trying to get back to where you were many years ago, right? Because we've had this hiring freeze and staff cuts for many years now, actually. So, and I do know as demand goes up, speaking of hours, are you going to be at six days a week or 5 days a week?
We have some libraries that are open on Sunday. We have 3 libraries on this island that are open Sundays. Probably half our libraries are open 6 days a week. In the last 6 months, we have added additional Saturday hours and additional hours at 3 libraries, and we hope to be able to continue doing that. There are costs and expenses to do that, but it is a high priority for the Hawaii State Public Library System to increase our hours, to increase Saturday hours, and I know that's a priority for the legislature and the Board of Education as well.
Okay, and then evenings?
Evenings, most of our libraries are open at least one evening a week. Wahiwa, for instance, just added a 3rd consecutive evening until 8 o'clock at night. Our goal is to have, let me finish, our goal is to have 6 days a week and at least one evening at every public library. However, we still want to gear the library hours to the community in which it's situated. So we work with both the community and the neighboring libraries to try to provide as complete coverage as possible. So one library might be open Tuesday through Saturday, and the neighboring library, for instance, Kailua and Kaneohe on this island, Kaneohe is open Tuesday through Sunday. I'm sorry. Kailua is open Monday through Saturday, and Kaneohe is open Tuesday through Sunday. So in that community, 7-day-a-week coverage for evenings. So that is the model we'd love to move toward, and eventually I hope we'll be able to achieve that.
Fantastic. So I think with the time we have left, how does the community get involved with the library? Now, that leads us, we only got a couple minutes here, but you know, it leads to just community involvement in general, volunteerism. You know, there's volunteers that can help, there's friends of the library, there's community input on the hours, probably what services they want in their library. Can you comment on that, maybe Susan?
I just wanted to share, last year we had over 2,000 volunteers who put in over 65,000 hours of service in our libraries. So we do love our volunteers and we do depend on them. And if anyone is interested, please reach out to your local library and express your interest in helping us. Yeah.
So, and how do you get the community input?
Well, let me say additionally, almost all our libraries have their local friends group that provides valuable support, both in volunteer hours and funding, fundraising, that kind of thing. We have, 5 years ago, we developed a strategic plan for the Hawaii State Public Library System, 4 years ago actually, and in the next year we will be developing a new strategic plan. So in the next year we will be developing a questionnaire to ask people, do we meet your needs? Does the Hawaii State Public Library System provide what you're looking for? How do you see the Hawaii State Public Library System looking and interacting with the community 5, 10, 15 years from now, whatever? So that's going to be an important step of this process, to get feedback and information from our stakeholders. So that will be an opportunity for them to provide, to help us shape the future of Hawaii's public libraries.
What a great way to end this half hour. And that's shaping the future of public libraries. And we're in that transition right now. And when it comes to the surveying, asking the community, can we just close, and how is that going to look like? Is it going to be on your website? Is it going to be they walk into their library and there's going to be a little survey thing? You know, are you going to have like public meetings? Just how are we going to involve?
We will use multiple strategies. If you rely on people going to the website or people coming to the library, that is a kind of a select population. So our staff members go out to multiple events, like for outreach, to spread the word about our programs and services, like Children and Youth Day here in the Capital District, the Hawaii Book and Music Festival, senior fairs, job fairs, that kind of thing. So we'll go out to those events and provide them, the general public, an opportunity to provide feedback as well. So we're trying to get the biggest universe we can to develop a valuable system and a valuable plan for all of Hawaii.
Well, we really thank you, and for someone like me who loves libraries and is really believes in them, and the fact that you're involving our public in this vision quest, you know, that you're going to be doing is fabulous. And I invite everyone who's watching to, you know, look for them reaching out into the community, asking you what you want in your library. And we thank you for being patron of our libraries, and we thank you again for sharing your thoughts on the libraries of the future.
Thank you, and thank you for inviting us, and thank you for supporting the Hawaii State Public Library.